Hi, this is Derek with mostinterestinglife.com. I'm making another one of my before the gym videos. And as you can see, I have my blue color therapy glasses on today. But the title of today's video is Interesting People Do Not Get Overwhelmed Easily. Now, I had originally written an article on the site mostinterestinglife.com about this whole idea, and I had written the article shortly after moving to a new place. Now, almost everyone I know, it feels overwhelmed by life. They have a lot on their plate. They have work, they have family, they might have school, they have hobbies, and I'm no different in this way. And having to move, where you pack up everything, you unpack, you have to get a truck, you have to change your dresses, I was starting to feel kind of overwhelmed. And I saw that I could be feeling even more overwhelmed if I allowed myself to. So I was giving thought, and I realized there is no point to being overwhelmed. It doesn't help you. It demotivates you. Being overwhelmed, you don't know where to start. It makes, in your mind, the idea of what you need to do is so big that it causes you to be paralyzed and to not take action when you should be taking action. So I put a lot of thought into this because especially interesting people, they tend to have a lot more on their plate. They tend to take on a lot of different things. They might have businesses in place. They tend to have a lot of friends, family. They have a lot of hobbies. They like to read. They like to exercise. They like to have different adventures, plenty of self-development. They're constantly improving themselves. Interesting people. So if anybody, they would be more likely to get overwhelmed than anybody else. So I started to think of different ways to avoid overwhelm, especially when you have a lot going on in your life. And one thing I realized is just slow down. Often we think we have a lot going on. Our mind is racing. We want to be moving fast, thinking fast, and acting fast. And yes, to a degree, but we don't want to burn out and we don't want to spin our wheels. So what you want to do is slow down, figure out the things that you need to get done, make a plan, and just steadily get to doing them. It's like the old story of the tortoise and the hare. The hare was much faster than the tortoise, but the tortoise was able to have a nice pace and just keep on going at it, whereas the hare burnt out, took a nap, got cocky, and wasn't consistent. So the tortoise ended up beating the hare in that race. Another thing is, and something that I talk about in my articles and some videos, is just take things step by step and make lists. Figure out all the little actions, break things down into as small actions as possible. For example, when I was moving, I would do just one box at a time, one set of things at a time, maybe some clothes, maybe focus on just dishes at one point, maybe just focus on some food, look into reserving a truck or checking truck prices, changing my address, forwarding address, making a list of all these actions, and then just doing them little by little. And like I've said in my article on small actions, if any one of those actions seems too big, break it up into smaller steps and then get started. Often when you take a few small steps, you'll just find that it's more easy to continue taking bigger steps. So that's a great way to avoid feeling overwhelmed. And there are lots of things like that happen in life. It seems like life is just full of family situations, things like moves, business endeavors, any sort of emergencies, health issues that come up. Sometimes it could be the weather. There are always things that could just add more to what you already have going on, and any one of these things can make you feel overwhelmed. Another big part of this, and something that I talk about a lot too, is just avoiding distraction. It's important more than ever to not get distracted when you have a lot on your plate. You really need to be working at full efficiency, and everything in life looks to distract you. I did my video on distraction. We have TV, advertisements, just everyday life. There's just distractions everywhere, and it's important to use the tools that I talk about in the distraction video to avoid feeling overwhelmed, because the best thing about to beat overwhelm is just to get whatever is bothering you completed and done with, or put systems in place to make it easier. And distractions obviously are in the way of that. There's I heard an old Amish saying that they say that a job started is half done. And I'd say that is completely true with anything. Usually we blow up things in our mind out of proportion. We make them bigger than they really are. We make them feel more difficult than they are. And because of that, we don't get started. We often find that when we get started working towards something, it gets easier and easier. And they say that the hardest part of going to the gym is putting your shoes on. Because if you get dressed and go to the gym and you're out the door, it's hard to lose that momentum. It feels a lot easier just to go to the gym and get started. Another thing that I've often thought about with overwhelm and having big tasks, a lot of things you want to get done, is when you're starting out, your problem or situation or whatever you need to get done, it's at 100%. So even if you do a tiny bit of whatever it needs to get done, or you tackle it to a small degree, then you're down to maybe 99% or 99%. So the point is that any action shrinks it down so it's no longer the large problem or situation or task that it was before. Every action that you do makes it a little bit smaller, and it continues to get smaller. So any action at all makes it not what it used to be. It makes it something smaller, weaker, easier to accomplish. So that's always motivated me. It's like if you play video games or you see some monster and maybe you'll hack off one of the monster's arms. All right, now that monster is less tough and it's easier for you to tackle. And that's a metaphor for just making lists. It's for getting organized, for putting on your shoes to go to the gym, for making a phone call about a business or something you want to follow up on. But every action just makes it easier. And one of the most important concepts also with avoiding overwhelm, and I made a video and an article on this, is faith. Humans are often short-sighted in life. We are unable to see the bigger picture. So just having faith that you will get through whatever situation you're in is great for overcoming overwhelm. During the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln, he was asked, what is one of the most important things to keep in mind in life? And he said, and this too shall pass. So when you're faced with a situation that is able to possibly overwhelm you, think, and this too shall pass. Have faith that you'll get through it. Keep your head down. Just keep on driving through, and you will get past, and this too shall pass. So that's about all I have to say today on avoiding overwhelm and how interesting people look to avoid overwhelm, because the more interesting your life is, the more things you'll have on your plate. It's like the notorious B.I.G. saying, more money, more problems. Well, you'll have more situations and more things that can overwhelm and distract you. So until next time, be sure to give this video a like, leave a comment, subscribe, go to my site, mostinterestinglife.com. And until then, stay interesting.